J.R. Hendrick, Texan Consort, and gentlemen, podcast of the early life of yours truly in a narrative commentary. Okay, this is going to be an interesting episode. It's called The Quest Back to Dad. Okay. Always like to see families being reunited, and that's just how I feel about it. It's a blessing, something that we can be happy about. So I think we just go ahead and get started. Okay, so it's the 20th of March. JR is back from his spring break in New Orleans. It's 8 a.m. Central. JR shows up at his internship at the U.S. Small Business Administration in Lubbock, Texas. And he's met with his supervisor, Karen Keith, and she said, I have to brief for the rest of these interns. JR, you've been officially assigned to the director this morning. And here's why. He's going on TV at noon. We need you to take a look at this policy briefing. Just came out of Washington. But going to the director, he wants to see you now. He's in his office. So JR walks into the director's office. And he said, now son, I looked at your profile over the past few months. Of the semester now. Mrs. Cho says that you're brilliant, but unproven. Whew, slap in the face. We shake JR's hand. It's not very often that you're going to be working in my office. But today is such a day. And what a lucky day. It is your first day. But you have a lot to prove. Look at these policy briefings, and then we talk about how I'm going to address the press. Have your memo on my desk by 11 o'clock. He walks down the hall toward the set of cubicles and gets ready to pass the marketing interns when Allison stops him. It's like, well, since we're in a few of the same classes and we have similar internships, I just want you to know, JR, I'm keeping my eyes out for you. How are you coping with Jennifer? And JR, he's like, she and I are over. The trip to Salt Lake and New Orleans got her out of my system. Yeah, right, JR. I'm not sure about that. And Allison said, still, if you need anything, please be sure to let me know. Okay, so it's 10 a.m. Central. Having typed up his memo, JR decides to pick up the phone and make a conversation. He's been wanting to make. So he picks up the phone, and the first time in months, he calls his father. And Senator Wild, the secretary, says, answer the office of James Ryan Hendrick. I need to speak to my daddy at once. So Jim picks up the phone. JR, what gives? And JR's like, Daddy, I did some thinking while I was up there, down there in New Orleans. This me competing against you, being angry with you, it's stupid. Let's put this to bed. Jim puts his hand back in his chair, raising his head in pride. I'm proud of you, boy. You're back where you needed to be. And the fact that you got that internship, that tells me a lot right there. Yeah, let's put all competitions aside. I'll see if I can get it through Christine's head. That's going to be a tall order, no doubt. 1:50 p.m. Central, with media writing class over, with JR is packing up his computer when Professor Robert McPherson stops him. He's like, look, I gotta say, you made an extraordinary grade on your press release. A solid B+. You were pushing a C- to a D when the semester was first going on. But now look at you. I've been talking to your academic advisors, and based on your internship, I think this course is going to be more on your end to keep those press releases coming. And, some of the other guys are going to be going on to other writing projects. Need you to keep doing the press releases. 2 p.m. Central. Back at the dorm room, JR said he would go to the usual dinner and devotional at the Holy Spirit Club. But at 8 tonight, JR and Dave Smith were going to be grabbing dessert at Cavernies, a place where all different types of desserts, along with ice cream, were being served. 4 p.m. Brent Clark, he stops off briefly at the dorm to talk to JR. Both were ribbing each other See, Brent wants JR to run for student senate. JR wants Brent to run for student senate. So they're going to give each other a hard time. 5:30 p.m. Soft and hard tacos were being served at the Holy Spirit Club. JR sits at a table by himself. Nothing to do, but that Allison had to go sit down next to him. JR didn't mind the company. But it goes into any romantic chit-chat. See, I think he wanted Allison as a friend. And him telling her that when Jennifer and I are over. I have to be honest with you, I think that's a front. That's a front. 8 p.m. Central. No, 8 p.m. Eastern. Jim had to have a quiet dinner tonight with Scotty Underwood. Soft tacos with Jim's favorite jalapenos. Forever was out on a date with Sarge. Amy Kathleen was dating Greg. And Christine, she decided to go have dinner be with Jennifer for the night. And Jim said, "Hey, Christine, your mama's coming home in a couple of days. And I'd like to see this family start acting right together." Christine shoots him like a whatever. And I have to be honest with you. This whatever. That's gotta be interesting. Now, the next day, Andy Braddock tells Jim that the bottomless lake project is on hold because of Claude. Meanwhile, Bill Mayer and Phil later tell Jim that in light of recent information about him and Claude, they would no longer be crusading them about a conflict of interest. They have been ordered to stop by the president. Also, Betsy realizes how much the family needs to be united together in Washington, D.C. And so she makes preparations for her and her mother to take the flight by private jet from El Paso to Washington, D.C. on the morning of March 22nd. The family was to be reunited. Also that morning, JR calls his father while on his duty station in internship. He tells him how much he misses the family being united together without all the competition. He persuades his father to lay any feelings aside and reconcile the family once and for all. Okay, so now it's 2 p.m. You have to understand, we skipped a day on this one, so it's a couple of days later, it's 2 p.m. JR returns back to the dorm after working class, feeling deflated. He goes straight into his dorm bedroom to lay down. And Dave Smith says, okay, something's not right. And Kevin McDonald says, look, just let him be. And just then, Jared's phone rings at his mother. So how's your internship? Betsy asks. Tough. I swear, I hate my new supervisor, Karen Keith. She gave me a hell of a briefing, then just left me there. Jared said, this is your dad's doing, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Betsy said. 3 p.m. JR is napping on the bed when Kim calls. Only talk for a few minutes. And then JR's kind of like, yeah, man. And talk to me a little bit longer than that. 6 p.m. JR had just barely made it through dinner. And now he was at the evening devotional with Brent Clark. Obviously, in some ways, not wanting to be there. But Allison sits beside him, comforting him. It's obvious to her he hasn't completely gotten over Jennifer. So it's the next day, 9 a.m. Eastern. As Christine is in school, Forever stops by her classroom to let her know that the school has selected her as a Texas representative to go to Capitol Hill. First, Christine's like, yeah, right. And Forever's like, yeah. The teacher confirms it. 9:30 a.m. Central Constitutional Law class. Dr. Watson is lecturing over the judiciary and the philosophy of judicial activism versus judicial restraint. 1 p.m. Central. JR meets Dave Smith in the student union for a quick for a snack. Sit down, and Dave Smith faces JR. Alright, man. What the heck's been going on? You come in from work yesterday with your head held down. Now today seems like you're just going through the motions. Jared's like, life is drudgery. Has been so since I came back here. And after dealing from all that pain from Jennifer Bowers, I got today's picture in today's campus newspaper. JR is seen with this same gentleman I saw over spring break. This rich British guy. I can't imagine her being with him. Move on, man. Plenty of things going on. In fact, I haven't seen you that much interest in Cheesecake Toastmasters or the Senate seat. What's up? If I can just get through today, maybe I can be over her. 3 p.m. JR is lying down in his dorm room when a knock comes to the door. It's Allison. Please, JR, let me help you. Now I got us some sodas and a study room open for us tonight. Come on. You're not staying in that room forever. 7 p.m. Eastern. Christine comes in and announces to the family she had been selected by the school for those who are students that come from Texas. They would go visit Capitol Hill. Get this, she apologizes to Amy Kathleen for her behavior and assures Jim and Betsy that the days of her rebellion are over. See, the days of her rebellion are over. Now, isn't that something? Okay. But guys, that's not all. Here comes the meat and potatoes here. It's the next day, the 24th, 6:25 a.m. Eastern. Jim, Betsy, and Amy Kathleen board the American Airlines flight that would take them to Edinburgh, Pennsylvania. 6:55 a.m. Eastern. American Airlines flight 2109 departs from Reagan International Airport for Edinburgh, Pennsylvania. Jim was telling Betsy that he would like to see the two of them take a trip together, if not the entire family. 6:30 a.m. Central. Donuts are for breakfast at the Holy Spirit Club. And JR walks in and only takes some donuts, and he sits down with Brent Clark and C.B. Coleman. You know, JR, the other day, you seemed so down, like something was up. You haven't gotten over Jennifer Bowers, Brent said. She and I are done. Mama says all about the society pages and tabloids. Jennifer is seeing this British financier. I knew her mama sent her to London for a damn good reason. Find some billionaire heir to latch on to. You can do 1,000 times better than that, CB said. Now, Brent says you're joining him today for the debate team flying in the Dallas-Fort Worth. Moving onward and upward. No more Jennifer and no more Charlie, Jared said. Speaking of which, Brent said, the Lubbock police picked up someone Wednesday who was in charge of the Turkish opium trade that lives at the frat house. Eric Newsom The MBA student, trust me, he won't be getting his MBA. Well, if he does, he gets it behind bars. 8 a.m. Eastern. Getting off the plane, Jim and Betsy are greeted warmly by the mayor of the city and his wife. They make their way past the crowds of the airport and to a little side exit where they go into a stretched limousine, which will take them directly to City Hall, where Jim was to have a meeting with the mayor. 8 a.m. Central. Arriving at his office at the Lubbock SBA, JR is informed that the assistant director wants him to write like a fact sheet about the provisions of the federally unfunded mandates act that affects small business. In short, his dad's federal state programs. Apparently, JR had read in the papers the past few mornings that President Clinton had signed this legislation, which in part contained his father's recommendations for federal state small business programs. He's pretty thrilled about that. 9:40 a.m. Eastern. The conferring ceremony is underway. The mayor opens business, presents to Jim the key of Edinburgh. Jim comes up to the City Hall podium with Betsy at his side and makes a speech. He had just started speaking about 5 minutes when the woman from the back of the room screams, "We love you." Today, it would be hard for President Clinton to criticize Jim Hendrick for receiving such an award and honor and respect from citizens of a small town in Pennsylvania. 12 p.m. Central. Cheeseburgers are for lunch, and JR, makes his tray, sits down with Brent Clark and C.B. Coleman. My dad called me about 10 minutes ago, C.B. said. Seems to me your father is in the news again, and in a positive light. Very positive that not even President Clinton can touch him, Jim said. Surely you're not saying that President Clinton is scared of your father, Brent said. I ain't got nothing to be scared of. Daddy just has a message to convey. 2:25 p.m. Eastern. Jim, Betsy, and Amy Kathleen board the plane that was to take them back to Washington, D.C. It had been a fruitful morning. Jim had received the key of Edinburgh, Pennsylvania. He was on a brief satellite call between himself and the mayor and Senator Rick Santorum. Now it was time for him to return back to Washington, D.C. Before he feels would be a quiet weekend. 2:55 p.m. Eastern. American Airlines Flight 2307 departs from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, bound back to Washington, D.C. Jim is sad to leave this small but thriving community, but was glad to have a good speech about small business there today. And that's the quest back to Dad. I hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying until next time, get ready for the rest of the story. It gets a little more interesting from here.